Welcome back. This month is Pride, and the LGBTQ plus community mark what the month means to them and highlight the work that's still yet to do. But how are we doing in this country when it comes to homophobic bullying?
Well, that's where the Pinky Promise campaign comes in. Broadcaster and former 2FM DJ Stephen Byrne joins us to tell us how we can help fight this kind of bullying at school level, along with the campaign's creator, Éanna O'Shea. Éanna, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride! And you know what, it's lovely to have a celebration like this, and a lot of people ask, why do we still need to have Pride? Of course we do, because as recent attacks have shown, and attacks on you yourself, Stephen, it's still happening in this day and age. You've had a couple of bad experiences over the years. Just fill our viewers in on that.
So we talk about that. I mean, obviously, you know, we're seeing the celebrations pall out on the streets today as well. But at its heart, Pride is a protest more than anything else, and we can't forget that. Of course, we can have our dance, but we've got to remember it's a protest. Yeah, over the years, I guess, multiple things from little microaggressions on the street, you know, comments passed to, I guess, the full scale of I was beaten up about 8 years ago for the first time. Homophobic slurs, that was on O'Connell Bridge. Punched in the face. Just was walking across O'Connell Bridge, 7 p.m. at night. Knocked to the floor.
7 p.m. We're not talking about a load of people full up of drink or drugs at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, this was 7 p.m. Just knocked straight to the floor with about 30 people around as well. And nobody did anything. I just ran down
Nobody
the street.
did anything?
Nobody did anything.
I hate the way that you said for the first time.
Yeah.
For the first time.
And you're not alone in that, because it's not a unique occasion for anybody who goes through something like this. It happened to you once again.
It did. It happened again 3 years ago. And unfortunately, that time, it damaged my teeth to the point where I've been kind of going through dental reconstruction now for the last 3 years.
What happened then?
So I had a denture and everything. I was walking home. I lived in Phibsborough at the time. Did that walk a million times before. It was only about 12 o'clock at night, and I just got a punch in the back of the head and again heard that slur. Unfortunately, they also knew me from, I guess, TV and radio and stuff, and that I became very aware then, and I kind of was afraid to report it because they could find me at a weekend on the radio and wait outside RT at the time.
And that's absolutely terrifying, because I know as a woman, like, if you see gangs of people or like that, you're kind of conditioned to cross the street or something. But that's something you have to do all the time as well, I would imagine. Yeah,
definitely. You do kind of constantly assess, and I think especially over the last while, we've seen a huge rise in the number of attacks on the LGBTQ plus community on the streets of Ireland. I've seen my friends become a lot more insecure in their journeys through, you know, nights out, making sure they're with a friend, making sure they've got someone to accompany them wherever they go.
We were asking Dr. Richard Hogan earlier on, like, you know, have we progressed as a society? Yeah. And I suppose we have, but Éanna, for you to then create this campaign, first of all, tell us why the campaign, but why are we not getting better at it?
Well, it's kind of interesting. We have come so far, you know.
Yeah.
I work for a branding studio, Image Now, and every year we do campaigns for like An Post or IBEC, and everyone gets out there and shows support. And for us, our company really believe like creativity can have a big impact and a big change. And we wanted to do something a little bit different and raise a bit of money as well. Like as Stephen said, there's so much violence still happening, so much slurs, and even in schools, like kids are just being bullied for being different or expressing themselves or having, you know, crossing their legs or looking a bit different. So what we wanted to do, but you know, it shouldn't be like that. So I had this idea. I was like, you remember when you're a kid and you had a best friend and you're like, oh, you know, cross my heart, swear to God, and you know, Pinky Promise we'll be best friends forever. It comes from that innocence, that childhood innocence, where you did have allies and you had a best friend. And I think, you know, nowadays in society people go, oh, the gays don't bother me, or I don't worry about the gays. But and that kind of language, that kind of language, it doesn't bother me. That's not supportive enough. I think we need to be out there and saying, I stand with you. You know, I'm part of you, my son, my daughter. You know, I am an ally. Rather than saying, oh, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't. Bother is a horrible word as well.
Or tolerate.
Tolerate. Talk to me about the word ally, because there's a difference between being supportive in a passive way and actually actively being an ally and being open and loud about your support. Be vocal about it.
Be vocal about it. Talk to people. I think why we love Shout Out is that they're going into schools, they're going into workplaces, so they understand the spectrums of the way to be yourself, to be non-binary or gay or transgender, to understand. I think a lot of hate and violence comes from lack of education and awareness. And ignorance.
And that's where it starts, isn't it, Stephen?
Majorly. I've been lucky enough over the last few months to be working with Shout Out, the organisation, which obviously we're raising money for with this, going into schools and talking to young people.
And what are you seeing and hearing in the schools, Stephen? Like,
I mean, it's been amazing because the greatest thing about young people is, they'll question everything. And also within those classrooms, when we do go in and chat to young people, they're not afraid to ask the questions that maybe other people might be as they get older because they don't want to offend anyone. So they'll just say it out, and it's amazing.
I love that.
Without malice, without malice, just
exactly.
want to know.
Pure
what is
innocence.
this?
Yeah.
Because we're all born as a blank piece of paper. And these sort of things become indoctrinated in us through maybe our parents or experiences in society. Whereas at the core, in those classrooms, the work that Shout Out do, we're getting young people at a point where we can influence their future and influence the education that they have so that they either continue as allies or even if they are LGBTQ+, become more comfortable within themselves.
and yet in I'd imagine every school, I know in the school that my kids go to, there are anti-bullying charters. And, they're learning about tolerance, they're learning about, just how to conduct yourself, inclusivity. But it's still not seeping through fully. It's still, as you say, in the schoolyard, you can still hear that language.
Become so complacent with it because I did a documentary about 2-3 years ago where I went back to school myself, and going back into my old school was amazing because I was like, everything's changed. Oh my God, it's so much more accepting. But I did a talk in a school on Wednesday, and there was a girl who said she's been bullied out of the bathrooms because she came out as gay, and the girls won't let her into the bathrooms. And she's been going through this struggle with that. There was another girl who was in a school and it's been incredibly religious, and she's just been completely othered by the staff in the school because it's run by nuns and they've just not allowed her to be herself.
But when you look, though, you talked about the innocence of children, yourself from your own kids, and I've 20-odd nieces and nephews. The younger ones, they're just, why can't girls marry girls and boys marry boys? And that happened, and that happened. Oh, well, that makes sense why that was allowed, that law was put in, why wasn't it there anymore? But it's when they get older and they're listening to these little subtle languages, some subtle, some not so subtle. So talk to us now about this Pinky Promise thing. Now, how widespread do you want this to go? Do you want this in all schools now? Because I think this campaign is very, very important.
So last year I guess myself and the Image Now crew were brainstorming, what can we do? And I said, well, I have this idea of a Pinky Promise. So I want people to paint their nails, take a picture of it, and post online a promise to be a better ally with the pinky, and nominate friends to do the same. So spread it around. And what we want you to do then is donate to shoutout.ie through the URL shoutout.ie/donate. And what we want to do is to travel, because they do need the funding. If you haven't had a talk or a workshop in your school yet, you need to have it. But these guys need money to do that. And I think
it has to be funded.
It has to be funded.
It's all volunteer based as well.
All volunteer.
When I got involved in it, I was astounded by how many people within the gay community that I knew, within the Pride community, who had volunteered and had given their time to it. And every single person who talked to me about Shout Out or had an experience with them, either in a workplace or in school, were just full of love for the work they do, because it's so important.
Now, it should be just once a year. I think you should get your...
No, we're going to do it every year. We want to do it every year.
Not even every year, but it shouldn't just be a Pride Month, this day, the whole country, every company in Ireland goes up.
Do you moisturise?
Does
not as much as I should. I have to work. This won't take very long.
We should be doing this all the time. It should be all year round.
But I'd love the followers.
Oh my God, sorry.
You painted my finger.
Hang on, we're talking
you bite your
serious
nails
stuff here.
Do I?
I would love the
Breakfast,
fathers.
lunch and
dinner. Oh my God, you look like you're bleeding.
Standard cis men to get their nails painted. If I was a gay kid and I saw my father, that stereotypical jock,
I have 4 boys, boys, and I think it's very important.
Because it starts a conversation.
Of course
another man comes up to you and goes, what are you doing?
Pinky Promise. And that's all we're looking for. That's all you're looking for.
And the great thing about this is, as well, it's crazy how many questions you get when you've just got the pinky.
People ask about it.
So people are like, what's that about?
And
then you start talking about Shout Out, start talking about LGBTQ+ awareness, but we really just want people to, like I said, donate Nominate your friends on social media. So post these and up online. So
nominate and then donate.
But someone paint my pinky. I'm feeling very left out.
Yeah.
It's on the way. Don't you worry.
It's on the hearts there.
Hey, Stephen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really
Thanks
appreciate
a
it.
million,
I need
guys.
to get that moisturiser.
I'll let you know my secret. It's called cheesecake at 8:30 in the morning. Works a treat.